Alrighty, welcome back to the bench. What I figured I'd do now is, this is another scratch build here. It's using the block technique that was covered in an earlier video. Maybe I'll link to it or something fancy like that. I call it the weigh scales building. It's not a weigh scale. It was actually a Pennsylvania Railroad shed or small storage building that was located in the town of Weigh Scales on the Pennsylvania Railroad Shamokin branch. It was a cool little building, and it was a technique that Bill Schultz turned me on to with using solid blocks, and he helped me, and there's a whole video on that. So I'm not going to repeat a lot of that. For this one, I'm just going to kind of show what I decided to model, how Bill and I came up with the blocks, and there's a little slight difference on this one in that I am going to have an interior on one part of it, so I wanted to try that. So what this is a freight house that was on the lake shore in Michigan Southern. It's still extant today, in February of 2019. It's this freight house. It's over in the town of Northeast, Pennsylvania, at the, I think it's the Lake Shore Museum over there. I wanted to build a freight house. I wanted a freight house for over in Sharon. Now, obviously, a New York Central freight house doesn't fit in Sharon, Pennsylvania. But again, this is all kind of a modeler's license. I wanted to use this one because the passenger station that is just up the way here at the museum, where the museum is actually housed, is another, obviously, Lakeshore and Michigan Southern original structure, New York Central, then Penn Central, then Conrail, and now CSX. I'm actually going to build a model of that as well. That's a kit that's available from the New York Central Historical Society. Hasn't come in yet, but it looks like a really nice kit. So with that passenger station, I decided to build this freight house since they kind of go together. So again, it's a block type scenario that I used. This article, which is out of How to Build Realistic Layouts, that a friend of mine let me copy, kind of goes through the building and a little bit of the history of it and some photographs of it. And I did go out with Bill, and I took many, many more detailed photographs of the building. Although it is a challenge because they've got tons of junk laying around this building. But this is the article. So that kind of gave me some of the background. Part of the article did have scale drawings in N scale, and I'll just show these briefly. Again, kind of what you do if you want to model something like this. Decide how big you want to make it, because if you'll see my scribblings on here, I determined, the pitch of the roof and really how big I wanted to make it. I actually decided to scale it to about 75% of the original size, because it would have just been too large for where I wanted it. So going through and converting the N-scale measurements to actual, decimal measurements, I went through and, scribbled some notes. And then here's where I decided how I was going to make it. And this is nice. It gives you an idea what the interior looks like. I'm actually going to have an interior here up at this end. Not so much the freight station end, but something up here. And you can see there, I reduced it 75%. More dimensions, and this I was using because I actually sent this stuff down to Bill, and he helped me by cutting the block itself for the building. So it gives you, it's nice to have all that. There's again more on the interior, and then I enlarged it a little bit to kind of detail things when I was sending things and getting measurements and sending things down to Bill. So anyway, scale drawings helped, obviously, as part of it. And here is the block. Let me change the f-stop so you can see it in all its glory. So this is the solid block. For this, again, you'll notice it's actually has a cutout. And this is where I'm going to put the interior for the office. Probably make something on a thin sheet of cardboard, slide it in. I may even add a light to the top here, run it back, drill a hole, so I can actually light the interior. So you can do that with solid block buildings. It takes a little bit of forethought how you're going to do it. And that's why he put it kind of on this base here because he was cutting out for the interior. If it was a solid block, it probably just would have been a complete solid block. But he got it nicely cut. He got all the right angles for me. He's got it all formed for the roof. So this is the block pretty much ready to go. I used Northeast scale lumber, board and batten siding. I did actually photograph, measure, and send off to a contact I have on Shapeways the details of the windows, and these are actually custom windows from Shapeways that match a lot closer the actual windows in the building. I could not find anything from Tichy or Grant that was even close to it. So I got, the door, the windows, the freight house doors. What else? Anyway, they're just custom. This is a door that goes into a basement there that's below the office that I'm going to attempt to model as well. Somehow, if I can figure out how to do it. So everything's pretty much done. Again, Bill helped me cut out he cut all the walls for me because I helped him put his backdrop in. So, he helped me, or I helped him, so he helps me. So they're all cut and ready to go. What I'm doing now, one of the items that I noticed when walking around it that's a little bit different, I guess, is at the base of the structure. It's interesting because the whole thing is actually elevated. You can see the blocks here. It's elevated about 1.5 feet, 2 feet. They added a basement office at one end. And then where the walls come down, you can see it's kind of got this little two-step arrangement where it steps out and then steps out again. So I wanted to kind of duplicate that because it's kind of obvious. And it does show on the plans as well. And I figured out, well, one of the first things I have to do is figure out how I'm going to do it, and then get it done and add it to the bottom of this, because it's got to be on there. At least I figured it should be on there before I start. So I've done that. What I decided to do, it's not perfect, but I think it's going to capture the look of it, is basically I used some basswood. I used, for the bottom one, for the larger, I'm going to use a solid piece of 1/8. No. Am I using 1/8 for that one? Yes, 1/8 for that one. And then I think a smaller one, up above it. Roughly scales to 8 inches and a foot. Roughly. It's close enough. And then I'm going to put some, strip wood on the outside. A 2x8 here and a 2x12 here. Glue them around, so it's going to kind of give me this look, I think. We'll see when I get there. It is going to throw the height of the building off a little bit because Bill misunderstood me. Sorry, Bill. Actually, part of this piece here should actually be this. Well, I'm going to add it underneath it. So it's going to bring the building up slightly. So I might reduce the height that's raised up. But not a huge deal. I don't think anyone ever noticed that. But that's kind of my fault. I didn't communicate very well exactly the height I wanted when I decided to do this and incorporate that. Now the way I'm doing this, I'll just do a quick little rotate and show you this fancy monstrosity. Whoa, look at that. If that doesn't impress you, I don't know what will. Anyway, I got the two sheets here. I hope they're going to be okay because I had to do some cutting on the table saw. That is not the best table saw. And like I said, I got the bottom piece 1/8. This top piece I think is 3/32 basswood. And this bottom piece sticks out on the long edges. It sticks out by about 1/32 to let the strip wood sit on it. This 8-inch piece is going to be here. And then the 12-inch piece is going to be here. And then this piece, this upper piece, it sits out. Let me swing back slowly. It sits out beyond this by about 1/16 all around. That lets the piece of board and batten come down and basically sit right on top of the 3/32 piece. The 1/8 piece is a little bit further out, and then it will allow, it gives me this look. So basically the battens are going to sit, so the battens are kind of sitting right on top of this. I'm calling it a 2x8. If I did it right, that batten should be sitting right on top of that board. And then this board will stick out a little bit. So that's what's kind of gluing up right now. All the windows are primed because all the walls are cut. So I'm pretty much ready to assemble it once I get the base piece out of that medieval torture device I have there for weighting it down. I want to make sure it's all nice and flat. So what I'm going to come in now is what I want to do inside this office here. I'm going to get the lights in there. Probably use LEDs, yellow LEDs, just because it's from the 50s, the era I'm modeling now. I get that all put in and get everything glued on. The nice thing about this block technique is it tends to allow you to build them faster. Now, it will slow me down because of what I'm doing here with this, with the interior, determining all that. The roof's a little bit more involved with the different pitches and everything, so I'm going to come up with the roof, and it'll probably take me forever to shingle the darn thing. But that's what we're going to do. So, more to come as I progress on this. As you can see, Bill's got notes. Although, actually, another thing I didn't tell Bill. He'll either see in this video or I'll tell him ahead of time. I'm kind of flopping the way the walls are just because I want, on the layout, to me, I'll just show this this is the actual, oh my gosh, let me, you can see that. This is the non-track side. I'm going to have this be the track side, just because of the way things sit and where I want I think it's more interesting. This is the actual prototype track side. Well, I'm going to have it flipped because I want to have this door. I think it looks cool. So I'm going to have this face the aisle of the layout. So basically I'm just taking, the whole building and kind of flipping it and rotating it. Which really, all the pieces are the same that Bill cut. It's just a matter of where I'm going to glue them in. So as opposed to having the door on this side being the track side, I'm going to put it on this side. Not a huge deal, but that's just a little bit of a change I'm going to make from the prototype. So, all right, more to come as I progress here. Again, I'm not going to really do a how-to. I'm just going to kind of show, I kind of showed you the thought process, the prototype, how I'm kind of modifying things slightly. I'm going to incorporate this base, the interior, and then we'll show it as we go through assembly. So, more to come as we progress here with this wonderful block building scratch build. Another medieval torture device. Alright, so the bottom two pieces dried up overnight, and now I got them glued up to the bottom of the block. I couldn't really, because of the peak of the roof, it's kind of difficult to get weights on it, so I got a clamp on this end. That's kind of teetering there, and I do have a weight inside where the interior is going to be. So let that set up for a few hours. Everything seems dimensionally okay. We'll find out when I go to put the walls and the strip wood on, but so far so good. So let this dry up and we'll keep plugging away at it. Welcome to our office. So this is what I'm going to do for the interior of the office. I have just a sheet of cardboard that I used to use for when I was doing photography. And you can see I just put a couple of things in there. I'm not real worried about it because it's not going to be super visible. Just want to give the impression that it's got an interior and some folks there hanging out. One guy talking to the other dude sitting back. I added, this is going to be the one wall. I put a Pensy calendar, although it's a New York Central prototype building, so that's going to probably cause, that's like, matter, antimatter getting together. So I don't know, there might be some type of time-altering explosion, but some stuff there. I have a notch here in the back behind this bench, because what I'm going to do, so that's where it's going to sit, so I'll slide the whole thing in there and glue it down. I did drill a hole through the bottom. That's going to be for the leads off these LEDs, and these are two different ones, two I bought off of a pack off of eBay. So that's going to sit back there, and then I'll run these over and hopefully be able to get a dab of super glue and get them, you know, basically one here, maybe one here, and then glue this, which is just a piece of rectangular evergreen tube. I'm going to glue that to the back of this. This is hard to do and point and talk and walk and chew gum, and I'll glue that back along there to kind of hide the wires going down. Probably could let them hang there, but I figured it might look a little bit neater. So I'll give this a whirl, see how everything goes together. So that's going to be on later. The building itself has got all the strip wood placed around the base to give me the stepped effect. All the walls are on that are okay to go on. I can't, obviously I can't put the ones around here unless I'm really going to have fun trying to put an interior through the windows. But all the other pieces of the board and batten are on. So I want to get this wrapped up, get this all super glued in, get this in and secured, and then get the rest of the walls up. And then, like I said, normally these buildings go relatively quickly. Still have a couple other things to figure out and work the roof and what color to paint it and yeah. But anyway, so we're moving along. So more to come once I get the office installed and all the walls on. Okay, so there's the office. I slid it in there. I was able to get the lights, and they're going to show up, but they're super glued to the ceiling. Then they run back and down. Oh, there goes my wall. And down through that channel there in the back. And then the leads come down, and I soldered them together. I figured it's a lot easier to work with those small leads now as opposed to over underneath the layout. So I added a longer set of leads to ease the hookup. And then this sits in like that. So I don't know how well this will show up on video. See if we're going to focus, but that's what it's going to look like. And then, like I said, this other wall goes in the back that has that fancy little calendar on it. Again, I'm not going to be able to see much. Now, I do have the lights on. They're not very bright. I don't know if this is going to work at all. It looks really dim now. I'm sure that's because I have the way I have the camera set, but yeah, those yellow LEDs are really kind of dim. I probably should have gone for some brighter ones, but you know, it's okay. And again, most people are just going to come by, take a quick look, and go, that's nice, and then move on. So, not really all that worried about it. Whoa. Okay, so now that that's done, I have it on stilts for now. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'll get this glued in, and then I'll get the other walls on it, and then decide what to do from there. But moving along, we're making progress here, so more to come as we keep forging ahead. Well, here we are, a little in progress on the freight house. I got all the Northeast board and batten installed. You know, the window is in. I have a coat of paint on it, and this is kind of where we sit. You can see the way it's looking now. And again, I did add the pieces in here for this is the non-track side. A little bit different on the prototype. This is the track side, but again, I wanted to flip it over and have this on the aisle side because I like the way it looks. So all they had on this side were, well, on the non-track side, which this wasn't on the prototype, were these kind of these little, I don't know, bumpers, I guess I'll call them. I think I have that's the prototype photo that shows it. So I took a scale 10 by 10, cut the angles, notched it to go over. If I zoom in here, I don't know if this is going to show up. It may not focus, but I will certainly give it a try. So I had to notch it to fit in here, glued it in, cut a piece of, what exactly is it? It's scribed siding, 3/32 by a 30-second thick. That's what this is on. I can't see him pointing. That's what this is here on top. And I cut it, laid it in there, marked it from the piece on the bottom, glued it in, and then stained it and put a little chocolate brown wash on it to give it a kind of a darker wood color. Then I did go back, and on the front, so I noticed it on the prototype, you can see I put some 4 each nut bolt washers in there. That was simple enough. I mean, it's only soft little wood, so I just drilled it was in number 74 hole and popped them in there. So that is that on this side. Now the other side, before I flip it over, just for any pure New York Central enthusiasts out there, which I don't claim to be, so I don't know if these are the exact right colors. You can buy New York Central structure. They call it light green, dark green, light gray, dark gray. It's like a gray-green color from the society in their shop online. But, and this is just because I'm a weirdo, you have to pay $8.95 to ship the paint. That's in addition to anything else you buy. I was like, really? Because I was going to buy some stuff. In fact, I bought a New York Central caboose to use off the branch line, and anyway, and that shipping was like $8. Okay, for a couple things there. But then if you buy paint, it's another $8.95. Anyway, so I said, you know what? I'll try to match as best I can to the photographs. What I came up with for the main color is this Vallejo model color, 70.885 pastel green. That's the kind of the greenish, light greenish, grayish type color there. For the darker gray, I went with, again, model color 70.886 green gray. Now, I'm not saying they're perfect. I don't know. But, again, I don't tend to panic about colors because I'm not necessarily modeling this perfectly and worried so much about it. I want it to be close. Based on the photos I took, and unfortunately the thing has really, really peeled the actual structure itself. So there's like small chips of paint around. I was like, I'm not going to worry about it. It looks close. I think the prototype nowadays didn't have this bottom part painted in the contrasting color, but I kind of like the way it looked. And I think some of the photographs in the one article I had did kind of show that in the darker darker gray-green color. So that's what I painted. So I painted the windows and this bottom part here. So that's the non-track side. And then what we'll do is, and I had to fill in the corners, and I'm not saying I'm great at it, and then, well, that's because I'm not the world's greatest civil engineer. So this will be the track side, which you're really not going to see, in all honesty. So I wasn't too worried about it. In fact, I didn't put nail holes down here like I did on the other side, just because no one's ever going to see this particular side of it. Now this is going to have a loading platform basically the whole length. I'll probably run it the whole length and maybe have a set of stairs out here to get to it. So that's going to pretty much be this whole side. I'm probably going to use more of this 3/32 by a 30-second thick, build something, cut it out to about 5 feet or so. Depends how big I want to make it. And then just build something that I can put along there. These blocks here are amazingly the right size. That's how high the building is going to physically sit above the ground, so to speak. So this is the part, the office end here is going to have some type of, because they added a basement to it, so it's going to have some type of brick to about where this particular one is here, somewhere in there, maybe a little bit further. I'll have to look at the prototype. These are actually bathrooms. Right here's the wall to the freight house area, and then these are all going to be elevated with basically column blocks. Now, I'm not sure, or block columns. Not exactly sure yet how I'm going to do that, because you need it to be at least 3-sided, because you're going to be able to see it, at least on the front side. Back here you won't, so back here I could just probably make it whatever. Plus it'll be covered by the platform, by the loading dock. So I'm not too worried about it here, but on the other side, I will need to do something. So that is where we are. You can see I got this on this little foam piece to allow me to handle a little bit easier. So next will be, I want to cut the roof pieces. Try to get that fit up. See if I can get all the angles right. Although Bill did help me. My main man Bill comes through again. He actually cut a template of the roof. So that's going to get me nice and pretty far along there. I'm just still deciding what I want to use for the roof material. He has a little angles here too. So that's roughly what it's going to look like with the roof on it. Roughly, I say, because it's not always not shingled or anything. And the building is about 18 inches too high. Because again, it's my fault. This should really have been, up. I shouldn't have had to add it. I should have had it as part of the building here. So it's about roughly 18 inches too high. But I still think it's going to look okay. I don't think it'll be that big a deal. Again, once you get it done and installed and part of the layout scenery, I think it'll look pretty nice. So far, I'm pretty happy with it. Now, on this side, I probably will make a small little platform here. Again, with some stairs to get up to this door, which they didn't have to worry about on the prototype because the whole platform was here. Again, because this was the track side. And the other side, on the prototype's got nothing. It's just got these. But the wall's got no door. So anyway, why am I babbling on like this? So there we are. So a little in progress here. Gonna keep moving ahead. Try to get this thing moved along and done. I did light it up. It looks pretty good. I might want to increase the voltage. The LEDs, I realize after looking at them, are actually 12 volt to 18 volt. And I lit them with 12 volt. So obviously they're a little bit dimmer. Now if I use one of the boosts that I bought, and I boost it up to like 17 and a half, it's fairly bright. It looks pretty good. So I might do that to light this building up. Go ahead and boost it up so you can actually see the lights in there. So, okay, more to come as we progress. Alrighty, back here at the bench, and got the roof on the Northeast Freight House. What I did for this, and I'm not saying that's perfect, but it looks pretty darn good. I actually started with the template that Bill had given me, which works out very well. Like I said, that was on there like that, and then what I did was I took it and I laid it out on a piece of this task board. That's what I'm calling it. It's actually leftover material from an N-Scale Architect kit, the curtain wall kit, that real big monster that I put over in Eugene Yard. Anyway, so they give you plenty of these, and I actually like it. It's pretty nice material. Probably could use a lot of different things, but I just use that because I have it. And I knew I was going to have to monkey around. I was thinking maybe with this, and that's true. Because when you lay this out, and I should have realized this, okay, that's how, the piece, this is the original piece. Obviously, I didn't use that piece. And when you lay it out, that's great, but these angles aren't right when you take that piece, which laid out is like this, and you go like that. You can see how it just is not going to work. So what I did was I took a piece of thinner cardboard, kind of drew it in here, transferred it to two more pieces, cut them out. Still have to do a little bit of trimming to make, I'm not sure, either I'm off a little bit or the building isn't perfectly square, but I did a little bit of tweaking to get the corners to line up. I'm not sure it's exactly, the same distance here as it is here, but again, no one's really going to notice that. So I got that all in. I secured it on with, just for full transparency, I use weld bond for this because it seems really nice with this material. And then I went back, and with the brush, I kind of came in and with the weld bond filled in the gap here, and then smoothed it out. Then across the top, I laid in a scale 2-inch by 2-inch piece of strip wood from Northeast scale lumber. I had to do a little bit of sanding over here. This piece was up just slightly, but now everything's nice and smooth, and it looks pretty nice, I think. So now it's pretty much ready for, I might give it a coat of paint, especially for the edge and whatnot. Do that and then shingle it. Now I'm not looking forward to shingling it, but That's what the prototype had, so I got to bite the bullet and do it. I also need to come up with something for eave brackets, because they're pretty pronounced on the prototype. I did buy some of these from Scale Structures Limited. They're large eave bracket number 2285. It may work. I think it looks pretty good, but it's designed. You can see how it's designed for a 90-degree angle, if you know what I mean. I can't really point with my other finger because I'm holding the darn camera, but and my roof comes down at an angle here, so this bracket wouldn't quite work. It's designed for if the eave came straight off, which I could have done, but it's not the way the prototype is. In fact, on the prototype inside here, it's actually lined with some like scribe material or something like that. They say what it is in the article in the magazine. I'm not going to do that because you can't see it. But, and again, I don't know if this is going to show up very well. And again, I'm kind of getting into my ramble-bamble mode. But I like the way that looks. Oops, if I go this way with it. But you can see it's not quite right. If I put it now, what I could probably do is cut this at some angle out toward this end and then get it fit up in there. Because you're never going to really see up in here. So it's not super pretty. It's probably not the end of the world. I do like the way it looks. It kind of conveys the look of the prototype. I just got to figure out how to get it on there. And there's a lot of them. There's like 36 of them. So that's more. Oh, sorry, I'm tilting the camera. Earthquake. That's more fun. But I'll work on that. Yeah, then it's pretty much time to shingle it. Oh, yeah, that's going to be fun. But, yeah, you do what you got to do. Still got to make the platforms. I'll work on that. But I just want to show a little, I won't say brief because nothing I do is brief, but a little in progress here with the roof. So thanks to Bill for the template. It worked for the bulk of it. And then I just had to monkey around with the ends. And that's where we're sitting right now. So, all right, more to come as we progress here. Alright, little progress update here. So, got some more vert done. What I have here, the roof, it's in roof. I just painted it a gray color just to kind of have it look a little bit finished, to see that a little nicer look. There's the chimney. This is I think it's a Tichy chimney I had in the scrap box. I'm going to use that. Close enough. It's not perfect, but works for me. I did add, let me put this down, otherwise it'll fall. You can see I added the basement has been added with some Monster Model Works. I forget what they call it, foundation starter or something like that. Here, for the elevated part, what I was able to find in my box of tricks, I think I bought these on eBay a while ago. They were for, I think, for a fence, and I like them because they're all four sides. You can see the holes that are there. That was for the fence. But they look really good for these supports. And that's the way they did it. I mean, not exactly those type of stones, but something similar. Close enough for me. So I decided, okay, I'll cut the bottoms off and I'll glue them on here. So that's what's there. And then if I take this carefully, we can see that there. Oopsie. Hopefully I didn't break some of my eaves off. My eave brackets. So that's the basement that was glued in. This is going to be for the door, where the steps are going to come down. You can see the eave brackets have all been installed, so they're all on. And then these are here, glued in here, kind of evenly spaced. On the back side, I'm going to have a full platform, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm probably just going to put some strip board or something that's that same height back here, because you're never going to see it. Because there's going to be a platform on top of it, so. On this side, yep, I'll do that, and around this end, I will do that, but I'm not going to worry about it on the back side. Like I said, this has been done and painted slightly. Again, this won't be seen a whole lot, so I'm not really worried about it. I just kind of took some craft paints. I'm not even sure if that's going to show up. I just kind of gave it a couple different gray colors and modeled them on there a little bit just for some variety. And I'll come in and weather that with some powders, but that's not going to be a critical thing. Let me pause this quick because I can't do it with one hand. I'm going to put the building down and show you the platforms I made. Alright, so for here, since this is a little bit different than the prototype, I went ahead and made, because on the prototype, this side's got the full width platform, but on my side it's not. It's just reversed. But I did make this little platform. There's a little 4x4 in there to level things when I set that onto the bottom set of... Holy crap, that went right in there when I threw it in there. Imagine that. So that's going to be like that. And then, of course, I need to make railings and a set of steps for this. I think I have the material I was planning to use. Oh, yeah, here. Yeah, this will be the bottom railing. I'm just kidding. I'll probably make it out of, I don't know, 4x4s, 2x... I don't know, I got to pick some scale lumber. I don't claim to be an expert, but I'll make a railing for out here. That's going to be fun, because it'll be nice and fragile. For the back side, like I said, that gets a full width. And right here is that. Similar concept. I made that. I got lazy and just used some scribe board, not individual boards. I did go back with the Monster nailer from Monster Model Works, which is kind of cool. It's got one end that's got a nice sharp point, and this other end, if I can do this with one hand, it's got two. I don't even be able to see that, but they're kind of to simulate nails, you know, a pair of nails. So I went along and did that there on that. So that's kind of a nice little touch. Then what I'll do, if I don't poke myself with a nailer, is I'll stain these, let them set up, then come back and put a similar brown wash probably to make it look kind of similar to that. And so that's going to get mounted, railings, this goes in the back. I'll do something similar to that. Get this door added and built the steps, going down to the basement, and then get the shingles on. Now I'm going to try something for the shingles. I picked up, which is probably totally in stop slide. I keep wanting to slide. These are Northeastern scale lumber shingles. You can read that, hopefully. They're nice. They're one sheet. They're all together, so they're not like the individual strips, which I thought about using. They're slate. This building does have slate. The prototype does have slate on it, so I will try it. I'll take 2 sheets on this side. I got to cut the right angles and get it glued on and hope for the best, and get the chimney in. And another thing I'm thinking of attempting, if my research is correct, this building has a Yankee gutter, which basically sits, you know, up on it a foot or so. And to me, it looks like it's almost a board at right angles, you know, perpendicular to the slope of the roof, where water just collects, and it must be sloped, I assume, to a downspout, which I'll put in here. Now to simulate that, what I may do, this is a Northeastern scale lumber 1/16 angle. I might just take that and kind of cheat a little bit, and then just glue that to the roof. Not that way, because the water would flow out, but something like that. Alright, it's not going to sit the way I want it to show you on the video, but if I do that, it's going to at least kind of look like a Yankee gutter, I think. I'm no expert on that. And I think they also have supports on the outside, but I'm probably not going to take the time, I should say, to do that, because you have to put little tiny supports along the whole, and I just don't feel like doing that. But I do have some of this 1/16 angle. Once I get the shingles on, I might carefully come back, probably paint it ahead of time, and then get it glued in there to at least make it look like, capture the appearance of that Yankee gutter, because it's kind of obvious when you look at the pictures of the building. The plans show it. The prototype that's currently in existence doesn't seem to have it, although it looks to me like some of the roof is not there anymore, so I think they lost part of the roof. Maybe over the years, the gutter leaked and it just, water damage just did it, but I'm going to maybe attempt that. So that's that. So let's get back to work and show this probably the next time when it's all done. Ready to go on the layout. So that'll be the next segment. The shingles are on. They are, not sure how well they show up. They're Northeastern, the main shingles are Northeastern scale lumber. They're gray slate. Looks nice. It's actually slate, which the prototype actually does have. The issue is, and I don't know if it'll show up, They come in sheets, so it took me 2 sheets. But the nice thing is they're complete sheets, so I didn't have to put down each single freaking row. But right here, I don't know how well it shows up, there is a line from the 2 sheets. No matter what I did, again, I'll zoom in and see if I can point out some of the, I guess, discrepancies. But from sheet to sheet, I'm trying to see here, if you look here, you see how they don't match up quite right. Some of they're off a little bit, and here, like the height of this is different than the height of that. But if I played with all the sheets I have, if I got these to match, then somewhere up here they didn't match. So I was like, well, whatever. I'm just going to go ahead, put them in, line it up the best I can, and then hopefully when I weather it, and I still have to weather it, I'll be able to kind of hide that direct. I mean, a vertical line like that is really visible. But it's the best I could do. Chimney is a titchy chimney that I had. Got a little notch for it. I didn't get exactly on the center line, but well, again, Rob Bennett tolerances. For the caps here, what I use is from a Rusty Stumps shingle sheet. They're the caps, so it's what you would put there. It is a cap sheet. I couldn't, according to the prototype, and I'll try to kind of draw with my finger, if it makes any sense. What it looks like they had was a piece of metal that kind of came up with the slope of the roof, had like a round, I don't know, like a round part of the metal, then went back down, and that is what was run along here. Well, I'm crying uncle. I don't know how to make that. I don't feel like trying to form it out of a piece of thin, I have some flashing type material. I guess I got to try to do it, but you know what? I just use this. Is it exactly like the prototype? No. Does it convey the look of a cap sheet? Yeah. And I did, kind of tar it up a little bit up there where I think they would, and probably down here as well. I did also put on what I'm calling a Yankee gutter, at least the the closest approximation I can get to it. It's definitely on the prototype. You still can see it, not fully because it looks like it's fallen into pretty bad disrepair. I used a 1/16 Northeastern scale lumber channel, or actually an angle. Again, that might not show up. This is a piece that didn't work. It was a little bit too short. What I did was I tried to, this was really fun. I laid the angle piece in here and in here, and then with 2 hands tried to hold this, take my X-Acto knife and kind of, cope that corner. Yeah, that was fun. But I think, it actually worked okay. I'm trying to get some light in that corner and try to zoom in on the wonderful cope joint there. Not enough light. Anyway, I think, the joint's coped a little bit, and I touched up with some paint. This back corner was off, so I actually went in with some putty, some Mr. White putty from Mr. Hobby. Real carefully put a little bit in there and then painted over it. Seems to look okay. And I figure these gutters are probably, through the years get leaks and have to be repaired and whatnot. And then at this end, the piece I showed you, I replaced it with this one because it was a little bit too short. So I recut it. But it was a little bit easier because I had these 2 glued in. So I didn't have to have quite as many hands to try to hold everything. It's off a little bit. But I think it looks okay. It definitely captures the look of the Yankee gutter. And it's something that's really there. I do have, where are they? Oh, here they are. I do have 2 downspouts ready to go. These are made out of Scale Structures Limited, a pipe set. I had to do some cutting and filing and re-gluing. They're glued right about where the focus of the lens is sitting right now. I had to glue that top piece to the bottom piece. They're going to go in here. I'm going to put one on this side about here, and then one on the back side. The prototype had 2, but I shortened the building, so I figure one in the center, front and back will be okay. I don't know, it depends if I can line things up. May actually drill a hole here that goes to the downspout, because I'm sure that's how it works. And I also assume that these have to be sloped slightly. Otherwise, what's the point? But I'm sure they're sloped to here, and I didn't slope them. So, there goes my Civil Engineering Award certificate. But, whatever. I think it does capture the look of it. It's not perfect. It probably should have little supports, I think, on the outside. But I was not about, like every foot, I was not going to cut tiny little pieces of wood or styrene or something and glue them all around. No, I'm not doing that. Sorry. Like I said, there goes my award, but whatever. Here on the end, I don't know how well this will show up. Let me get some light on it. I do have the door in for the basement. And then I made up this little sled. Simulates the height that's everything's going to sit. So that's actually the plywood, and this is the 1/2-inch foam. I could have used a 1/2-inch piece of foam here, but I didn't, so I had to make a little thing. This is the actual stair assembly. And then what I'll probably do, you can see the door is just kind of super glued in there. I had to add a couple little extensions. I just painted gray. It's just strip wood, because there was a little bit of a gap between the door frame and the actual basement or the stair walls. So, again, I apologize. I don't even know if it's going to show up on the video because I just don't have a good light system. So on the layout, I'll cut that out, opening out, and then hopefully be able to kind of slide that in and then get it all secured over on the layout. So for now, I'm just going to sit like that because I can't really secure it in yet, because I need to be able to lift the building up and still do some work to it. So that's going to be and then this will all be covered, obviously, with scenery. This, if I calculate everything right, it looks like it will sit a little bit proud, which I want it to, because it looks like the prototype is a little bit proud. I kind of used old Walther stairs, so this little pad wasn't really on the prototype. It was just straight across. But I think that I kind of like the way that looks. So that'll sit a little bit proud of the ground, but by the time I get the scenery in there, I think it'll look pretty good. So that's that. Decided to add a non-working light over the door. I probably could have somehow snuck an actual working one in and run wires through conduit, but I just didn't want to deal with it. I should have done that before, run it inside, and then down with the wires that I'm using here, which you can't see, it's dark, for the interior office lights, but I didn't, so that's okay. So now, like I said, it's pretty well done. I need to add the downspouts, weather the roof, weather the building. I added a little REA Express sign there. You can't see. I hope it's the right era, but I figured there'd be something back in the late 50s. There's nothing there now. But, again, I'm looking at a 2019 building. So if I kind of swing this around... let me just... I do have, for the front here, I did make up... Dun, dun, dun. This is the little platform. For the front, I have a couple other pieces. I'm going to run here back to this for the railing there in the back. So I do have those. I'm going to wait till I, glue this on and then put them in. But I'm waiting because I don't want to, the more you have on the building, the more you can break when you handle it. So I'm probably going to wait till I get the roof weather, the building weather, then glue this on. I also do have, for the back side, dun dun dun, this is the platform that'll be in the back. Well, let me just tell you what. Well, I just show you. Oh, I don't want to break that one, so I'm going to set that aside. Then I'm going to swing this bad boy around. Pardon the quick camera moves. Okay, so there's the back side. I do have it notched out here for the gutter to come through. And I did notch a corresponding, just a little bit. I think I need to do a little bit, oops, on the platform. So that's going to sit right like that. Okay, and I added a little bit of railing here at the back. On the prototype, I think there's stairs on both ends, but it almost looks to me like the platform was shortened at some point in the history, and he added a pair of stairs because they look a lot more, they look different than what I think are the original stairs at the ends. So I'm just going to make it all platform. So that side's going to look like that. And again, this is the track side, so you're not really going to see a whole lot of this. In fact, you're not going to see it at all once it's on the layout. But I still made this and put the nail heads in it, and I didn't go through that. I'm not going to put nut bolt washers here. I just don't feel like it. Again, it's just not going to be seen. So I'm just not going to go super crazy on it. And again, per the prototype, I didn't see any railings on the stairs. So I'm not going to put them there. Alright, so that's going to go on the back side. And that's just made out of scribe siding, actually. But it looked like pretty good for a platform. And, real just kind of a rough cobble together out of, I think they're 8x8s that I used. Doubled them up because that does look like the prototype did do it that way. So made sense to me. So I figured, what the heck. Alright, and again I have these to elevate it here on the back side. Probably didn't have to because you're never going to see it, but just for consistency and unity of purpose, I decided to go ahead and put them on so you can kind of see how the end of the roof's looking with the Yankee gutter. So now I'm pretty far along. Alright, so now I think it's a matter of, let me put the downspouts on, weathering the roof, weathering the sides a little bit, not crazy, not going to go too crazy on it because I'm going to say it's a relatively in good shape building. Get the platforms on, and then it's pretty much ready for the layout. So, alright, so we'll come back as we get things weathered up and see how it looks. Okay, final segment. Took it outside. I figured it's a nice sunny day, so I'll try to get some pictures of it, but I'm calling this done for as good as it is, or good as it isn't. Let's do a little bit of close-ups here in the sunshine. I've been asked by some of the other folks in my division to take this out to the regional NMRA convention coming up in early May. I don't know, maybe. I guess I wouldn't mind taking it out just to see kind of what happens. Again, I didn't really build it as a contest model. It wasn't really intended for that. It was just going to be on the layout. But you know what, maybe for fun I'll just take it out just to kind of carry the division flag and see what may or may not come of it. But that is it. Solid block building. Evergreen, or I'm not evergreen, Northeast scale lumber, board and batten. All the other details added throughout. A couple mistakes again on the roof. I would really like to fix that issue there with the gap, but you know what? Again, it wasn't really meant to be a contest model, so I wasn't really worried about it too much. Just going to sit in the layout, and people are going to look at it and want to spot boxcars at it. So, all right, let me spin it and see what the other side looks like. All right, here's the detail of the basement steps. Let me see if I can zoom in there a little bit. See the shadows from the camera and everything, but so that the stairs, you see they're proud a little bit. They're going to be, they'll have some scenery and other stuff piled around them. So that's that end there. Now let me see if I can do this without making it too jumpy. So again, that's the stairs, and I might, you can see they're off a little bit, but they're just sitting there right now. I mean, I can, if I really wanted to, giant finger. I don't know, I can slide the building over. You know, it's just, for right now, it's just sitting right there. But, and again, it's in the freaking sun. Let's see if I can elevate a little bit. I might lose it. Alright, so that's that end. Another mistake I made, again, which I really am not too keen on taking this as a contest, is that platform slants a little bit, kind of a little too high on the outside. At least at this end. Now, I guess I could rip it out and try to redo it, but you know what, I really don't feel like it. Again, because this backside, this here is the track side, it's never really going to be seen very well in a layout, so I'm not too worried about it, so you know, just let it go and let the judges hack at it for that. Alright, let me spin it around some more. Okay, here's the back side. Again, you can't really tell that the platform's out of cattywampus, and maybe in a real thing it would happen like that, I don't know, but let's see if I can continue around here. Overall, you know, for a layout model, I like it. For a contest model, I don't know, but we'll see. And I don't know if I'll be able to, let me pause and just raise the monopod a little bit here. Now this does get the shadows, but I did try to weather that a little bit. Again, that's the scribe siding with, it was stained, and then I came back with some various washes and then dry brushed it, some of the white to get it look like it's worn a little bit. And then I did add that railing there at the end. Figured I don't want people falling off, getting hurt. So that's been added as well. So that is it. My rendition of the Lakeshore, Michigan Southern Freight Station solid block building. See, I keep getting the shadow in there. In Northeast Pennsylvania. Alright, hopefully it was enjoyable. I know it's a long video, probably over an hour, but hey, you know me, I have the gift of gab, so that is it. Now to decide if I really want to take us out and enter in a contest, or if I just want to get it ready to go on the layout, but we'll see. You guys aren't concerned about that, but next time you'll probably see it will be on the layout at some point in a future update. So if you hung in this long, thanks for watching.